602-433-7000.
And a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight Program. Well, happy Tuesday, RIM Country. Hope you're having a great morning out there. Looks like we're going to be getting a little more rain today. But then the next few days should be sunny and maybe more rain over the weekend. March just doesn't know what to do. I think it's a little confused weather-wise, so we just will roll with it. Well, this morning on our Community Spotlight program, we have guests with CASA of Gila County. Have the CASA coordinator, Mariah Lantz. Good morning, Mariah.
Good morning.
And one of the volunteers, Breanna Fleming. How are you doing, Breanna?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you are so welcome. So for those of you listening or watching, if you're watching our KRIM radio live stream, you'll be able to learn this morning more about the CASA program, how you can help out, how you can volunteer, and what that entails, what you would be getting yourself into, I guess. and Mariah just smiles. She's like, yeah. No, it is great, the services that CASA provides, and a big part of that is your volunteers, correct?
Yes, they're a huge part of it. They're the ones that are boots to the ground in the homes, meeting with the kids and making sure they have everything they need.
So for those that are listening or watching that are not familiar at all with the CASA program, can you please explain what CASA is?
Yeah, so we are court-appointed special advocates. Our volunteers are appointed to a dependency case. Sometimes they're appointed to just one child, sometimes it's a sibling group. Once they're appointed, they meet with those children once a month at a minimum. They build relationships with the children they're appointed to and their current caregivers, learn what the kids need and what they want, and then we help fill those needs and wants. And then we're their voice for them in every meeting, court hearing, and decision made along the way while their dependency is open with the courts.
Wow, so now the volunteer doesn't do all of that, I'd imagine, but is a part of that, what is it? It's like a total goodness package, really.
It is. So we are a part of, we call it the dependency team.
Okay.
Every child has their own dependency team, and the CASA is a part of that, along with the attorney and the DCS worker, their teachers, their caregivers, counselors. We all work together to make sure the children have what they need.
Wow, that is a pretty comprehensive team.
Yes.
Wow, okay. So, Breanna, how long have you been a CASA volunteer?
I've been volunteering for about 4 years.
For 4 years now?
Yeah.
And what motivated you, or why did you start volunteering?
So, personally, I had a rough childhood myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really had anybody looking out for me. I kind of looked out for myself. And so I wanted to be somebody that a child could look up to. Something that I didn't have growing up. I wanted to be able to give them that.
Wow. So, in the 4 years that you've been volunteering, I'd imagine, is it something now that you can't imagine not doing? Is it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. You've probably seen the impact that you've had on children's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big heartwarming thing for me to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, being a volunteer, you're not paid,
Mm-hmm.
but that part doesn't really matter to me because I get paid with the smiles and all of that and the thank yous that I get from helping.
Mm-hmm. And the children that you've been working with, are they younger, older? Can it be any age?
Yeah, it can be any age from newborn to 18 when they age out and become an adult. I personally have taken the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
I started with a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
She was almost 7 when the case ended.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I've done newborns.
Mm. Wow, newborns. I wouldn't have thought really about newborns.
Yeah.
Wow. So, how many children are in the CASA program currently?
So that we start over again.
Mhm.
The number of kids that we have that are involved with the dependency court county-wide is 126.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, 126.
Yes.
Okay, and how many, say, here in Payson or the Rim Country area? Is that
Yeah,
northern?
so we kind of split our county, northern and southern, and we have the Roosevelt Dam is kind of that line.
Okay.
So the kids that are on this side of that dam, we have 30 of them that are from Payson, and 15 of those kids do not currently have a CASA.
So 30 from Payson or northern Gila County,
Correct.
96 then from southern Gila County.
Yeah, we have a great need for volunteers to help out with those kids that are from the Globe area.
Wow.
So we encourage people, even if you live in northern Gila County,
Mhm.
to support those kids and be a CASA and an advocate for those kids from Globe.
Mhm. So you said out of the 30 children that are in the program in northern Gila County, 15 have someone, a volunteer assigned to them or working with them, but then 15 do not.
Correct.
Wow, so you need some volunteers.
We do. So if we were able to get 6 volunteers this weekend from Payson,
Mhm.
by the time they finished, we would be able to have every child from northern Gila County to have an advocate. There's only 6 people from our county that we
Really?
need right now.
6 people.
Yep.
So how does that work? So if 6 people were to volunteer, and you said there's 15 children,
Yep.
could it be where somebody has multiple children, or?
Yeah, so some of our cases have 2 or 3 kids, some of them are
Okay.
just 1 kid.
Okay, wow. Has it been a case, Breanna, where you've ever had multiple children at the same time?
Not for me.
Okay.
Most of my families have just the one.
Gotcha. And how, with infants, and you said with newborns
Mhm.
or with babies, that seems like it would be challenging. I guess the babies, goodness, they're so cute.
Yeah.
I would have a baby, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But then also all of the challenges that come with the baby.
Yeah, you have to actually interact more with the adults in
Mhm.
the case than you do the child per se.
Mm-hmm.
My visits usually consist of talking to placement
Mm-hmm.
most of the visit and then playing with the babies.
Mm-hmm.
But in court, it becomes, this is a small little newborn that didn't ask for any of this. And
Mhm.
we have to do everything we can to protect him or her.
Wow, wow. So you said there's currently 15, are there 15 volunteers, or how many volunteers do you have right now then?
So in Gila County right now we have 22 active.
Oh, okay.
We have 3 that in the month of April will be sworn in by our judges, and they will
Nice.
be available then to take their first cases.
Oh, okay.
And then we have 2 that are currently working through the training process.
Okay, so if somebody is listening or watching and is interested in getting more information about volunteering with CASA, what is the best place for them to go?
They can either call me at my office. My number is 928-474-7145, or they can visit us on our website, which is www.casaofgilacounty.org.
Okay, and approximately how much time do you say, or do you tell someone that they should expect to have to dedicate to a volunteer position with CASA?
We average 10 to 15 hours a month, and that varies from month to month. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on what's going on in the case and what the family you're assigned to.
Okay, and you said 10 to 15 hours a month?
Yes.
Okay, so it isn't a large amount of time then, I'd say.
Correct.
Maybe the most 4 hours a week or so, that'd be like 16, so 3 hours a week or so.
Correct, and most of those hours are very flexible. Some of that time is spent meeting the child or other people, attending meetings on behalf of the child, and then documenting that information.
Okay, and you did mention training.
Correct.
So every volunteer has to go through training and receives training. Approximately how long is that training?
So pre-service training, which gets everybody ready and prepared to be a CASA volunteer, is 30 hours. It's approximately 15 hours of classroom time and then 15 hours of self-work.
Mhm.
And then after that, we offer trainings throughout the year. Every month we offer at least one training, if not more, to keep everybody educated. We forget things. We learned something 3 years ago and then all of a sudden have a need to draw that information. So we draw from our volunteers what their need is and then fit our trainings to them.
Mhm. Or is it a case where sometimes maybe laws can change or things can change with CASA that has to be passed on to volunteers as well?
Yes, we're actually working through that right now. So a couple years ago, the juvenile laws all decided to change their numbers and some of the wording, and so that affects us because we work within the juvenile court system. So we have had to redo a lot of our CASA policies and codes, and that information has to get to the volunteers, so we do trainings around that and what that looks like for us.
So, Breanna, to someone thinking about volunteering, and if they are listening or watching and they hear, wow, there's training, the hours, okay, not too bad, 3 hours or so a week, but then documentation, paperwork, if people maybe are a little, not scared, but hesitant because of that, how is that? Is it overwhelming, or do you get used to it? I guess get comfortable with it, all of it?
Yeah, it can certainly become overwhelming, especially when in the beginning when you're learning everything. And I did see that, but then when you get your first case and you start meeting with the children, it starts to feel a little less overwhelming. It is a lot more heavier work in the very beginning of a case when you get a case, because you have to, basically the CASA volunteer does everything a social worker does without being paid.
Okay.
And so it can be a lot in the very beginning of a case because you have to learn the background, you have to find out what happened, and you have to interview the people and do all of that stuff in the very beginning. But I think my last case, for like 6 months, I think I only volunteered for like 4 hours because it was just so flat the case was. Not much going on, just waiting out a timeline basically.
Okay.
And so the hours do vary.
Okay.
And then the training, so we do have to do 12 hours of annual training.
Okay.
But really I've come to see that, so Mariah and Emily, who is the coordinator in Globe, they both put on a CASA newsletter.
Okay.
And you get an hour of training for that. And so if you just read that newsletter every month, then your training is done.
Wow,
It's really
okay.
not a whole lot. I personally am a registered nurse. I started this when I was, actually before I was going to be into nursing school. I did this all throughout nursing school, and I have still done it as a nurse. And it has been overwhelming, but the rewards are so much bigger.
Well, and if you were able to do this while in nursing school, wow, because I know nursing school very, very intense.
Yes.
So, to still be able to do this and have the time.
Yes, you do get to do a lot of it on your own time though, which is how I was able to do it. The only thing that's really that you have to be at certain time frames are the meetings. Court, meetings for the case, things like that. Everything else is pretty much on your time.
Wow. So again, talking with Mariah Lantz, she's the CASA coordinator for CASA of Gila County, and Breanna Fleming, volunteer with CASA, and she's been volunteering now for 4 years, and you are looking for more volunteers, and it is a case where I think you could always use more volunteers, right?
Yes, always.
And it's good because the more volunteers you have, it sounds like just more options, so that way more children can get the services they need through CASA.
Yes. So one unique opportunity that we offer we call a co-CASA.
Hmm.
So if you have a friend, family member, somebody in the church that you get along and work well with, somebody in the community, sometimes our volunteers meet each other through the CASA program and end up working a case together. That is also a possibility. You kind of have your own built-in support system that way. So there's two separate people working the same case and communicating with everybody.
Interesting. So that's called co-CASA?
Correct.
Okay, so if people, I guess, again, someone listening and they have a friend that they've talked about maybe volunteering with CASA, they can do that together from the beginning?
Yes. Yep. They can.
Okay.
They can do their interviews and go through everything at the same time, do their training together. It can be a great success that way.
Mm-hmm. And that way, in the beginning at least, because when you mentioned, Breanna, that it can be a little overwhelming in the beginning, if there's two of you, you can kind of help each other out a little bit, and it's not just all on one person.
Correct.
Okay, now Breanna is an RN, so she has a strong medical background, but that's not necessary, is it, for being a CASA volunteer?
No, we
No.
don't have any requirements for any specific education or work background or anything like that. To be a CASA volunteer, you just need to be at least 21 years of age and be able to pass our background check.
Okay, and again, the website is CASA of Gila County.
Yep, .org.
.org, and I'm on the website right now, and there's a video that talks about CASA, tells you more about the program, how you can get involved, apply now, training, so information about training, and also request a CASA.
Yes.
That's on there as well. So, I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but requesting a CASA, how does someone go about doing that? And I guess why would somebody do that as well?
Yeah, so if a child is involved with the dependency court system and the Department of Child Safety, and they don't have a CASA assigned, and a teacher or a caregiver or a counselor sees that this child could use some additional support, they can go onto our website and request a CASA, and that then sends an email to us in the office, and then that'll bring up that case kind of to the beginning, and we can look at it again and send it out to see if anybody's available.
Gotcha. So it isn't a case where a CASA representative or volunteer is automatically assigned during the court case, but it has to be requested?
So we screen cases, and those come in different forms, sometimes through the website where somebody requests them, sometimes in the courtroom somebody will make a request. We also are constantly looking and following the cases that don't have CASAs, so we know what's going on. So then if we see an immediate need, we can send an email out to volunteers that have the ability to take a first case, second case, maybe they're in between cases, and see if anybody's available that way. We never force a volunteer to take a specific case. We offer cases, and the volunteers actually make the final decision.
Okay. And Breanna, has it's been a case where you've been in Payson for these 4 years and volunteering in Payson?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have, what's the word? Almost taken outside cases. Mariah's brought up some cases that need a CASA, and if I was willing to commute, but you don't have, you can do visits via telephone or Zoom, so you wouldn't really have to commute as much as it sounds. But then they ended up finding a closer CASA. So,
Gotcha.
but there are so many different needs, and they ask us. They send out emails every once in a while if like the dependency cases are very overwhelming and there's a high need for CASAs. They'll ask us if anybody can take on an additional case or would like to, things like that.
Gotcha. And you know, with the separation or the distance between northern and southern Gila County, it is a little harder if you're here in northern Gila County and are maybe asked about a case, or there's a case in the Globe area. Like you said, the travel there might not be a lot of travel, but if there is, it's a little bit of a drive.
It is. We do offer mileage reimbursement,
Oh, okay.
so we do have some funds available that we get through the state CASA.
Okay.
Because we are such a big county and a lot of our kids aren't able to stay in the local area and have to be placed outside the county, we do get some additional funding. We also have some grants that we get money from to help pay for reimbursing our volunteers for their travel time.
Okay. So again, talking CASA of Gila County, and if you would like to volunteer or just get more information about the CASA program and what volunteering looks like, you can check out the website casaofgilacounty.org, or you can contact Mariah, and let me see, your office number, I believe, is it 474-7145?
That's correct.
All right, and that's 928, area code 928. Or if you're down in Globe or the Globe area, information's on the website to contact the coordinator down there in Globe in Southern Gila County. Anything else that you would like to share about the program, or anything coming up? I know every so often I think you're at events or doing events.
Yeah, so we're always looking for different events to go to spread the message about the CASA program and talk to people about the program, to obviously get volunteers, but also just sharing knowledge and experience and talking to people in the community. We don't have any current events right now. There's not a whole lot going on. It's still kind of cold weather out there, and so I'd rather not have to sit in the rain.
No, that is true. We're not seeing a lot of outdoor events right now.
Yes.
That's for sure. But if you're maybe part of a group here in Rim Country, and you have presenters come in, people talking about different programs here in the area, you can contact Mariah. Maybe she would be available to come talk to your group, to share about CASA and volunteering for CASA. Well, Breanna, anything you would like to say for maybe people that are contemplating, kind of right there on the edge, thinking, should I do this? Anything you want to say to them maybe?
I would just say that it can be scary, to take on something new, but the reward is so great when you get to see these children and their families and how grateful they are for the help and support that you've given them. It's not a whole lot of work, I do promise you.
Yeah.
And you can totally, like I said, it's based on your availability. Like when I was in nursing school, I would take on a new case during my breaks so that it wasn't so overwhelming in school.
Gotcha, okay.
So like if you work, you can still do it. If you don't work, you can do it. You do not need to have a medical background like I do. We need the kids, not we, the kids need you to volunteer. They need your help.
And I think what you said about it not being too much work, it's because of the team. When you mentioned everyone that CASA and the volunteers are working with, it isn't just like it's the volunteer and you're out there on an island. It's like, here you go, here's your case, good luck. But with the team that you mentioned, Mariah, and just everyone working together to support the children, the families, to be there for them, it sounds like that really makes a difference.
It does. We also have 3 staff members at CASA, and so if a volunteer like Breanna, when she would get to her finals, if a meeting got scheduled during her finals, she would just text me or call me, and if she had something coming up, I would cover those meetings for her and then just send her my notes and catch up with her when she was available.
All right, so the support is definitely there.
It is.
For the volunteers.
We also have a couple of our volunteers who are snowbirds. So they're
Uh-huh.
not here in the RIM country full-time, they do some traveling.
Uh-huh.
So we can work with that too. We are very flexible and willing to work with any schedule that somebody has.
Wow, that's, yeah, I think I remember you on a previous program even mentioning that, where the snowbirds are part-timers in the area, that you have some volunteers that are in that situation. And they can be a volunteer wherever their home base is as well, right? And
Correct.
still volunteering for CASA of Gila County?
Yep,
Okay. Or if you have zero experience, then again, training is provided, and yeah, don't be intimidated by it. If you have that desire and you really want to help children in the community and help those families that need that representation, check out CASA of Gila County. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mariah, for coming on this morning, and thank you, Breanna. It was funny before the program. Breanna said, "Wait, you want me to talk too?" So you did an awesome job, Breanna. You did a great job. So
Thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate you sharing about your experience volunteering, and I'm sure that people listening and watching that have been interested, it would really help them hearing about your personal experience. So.
Yeah.
And thank you for helping all these children and families too, making
Thank
a
you.
difference in the community. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Well, hey guys, time to get back to the music. Here on KRIM, have some Led Zeppelin, Rod Stewart, Blues Image, and more. But first, how about we get a quick update from our National Weather Service.
With this morning's KRIM,
thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.